Season 53, War number 12. Today we've matched up against CAV, and the bands are Ironheart, Lady Deathstrike, Luke Cage, Professor X, and Ultron. And my team today is Infamous Iron Man, Kate Bishop, and Photon. So we're going to start today on Path 5 against Photon on Node 5. And I'm just going to boost up a little bit, get these first two fights done, then I'm going to throw on the max boost for the rest of my fights. This is the final war standing between me and my first ever Deathless season. I've been working for this ever since I've joined Tier 1 War. As far as I can remember, was like the first season of Crush, which was 7 seasons ago. It's just every season I've gotten better, and I'm just trying my hardest to finish strong on this final war. I did not plan this one. I don't plan the wars on Sunday nights. I plan the other 8. But I did decide exactly what my team and paths were going to be and minis were going to be before this war even started. I'm not going to accept a Deathless season without putting in the hard work for the final war. I'm going to give myself stuff that I was actually nervous about taking. We'll get to that later. Just to do war just like how I always would the rest of this whole season. So that first fight was really, really easy. It's just a normal Kate versus Photon fight. The Power Start one just kind of makes that a joke. And then we move on to Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Node 14. I could have taken this with either Photon or iDoom, but I wanted to ramp up Photon's charges for the upcoming fights I have with her. Just going to play this fight like I always would. Make sure that her evade is always going to be on cooldown, and then constantly counter her SP1s to pause those power charges. This Negasonic being awakened does help me a little bit because it means she's going to have some of her, or like half a bar of power when the fight starts, so I can push her to her initial SP1 early. So now I just need to keep playing aggressive, and then I can counter the regeneration with both Despair Mastery and Photon's personal Petrify and stuff. So again, just repeat Special 1 baiting and countering, and then try to just do a bunch of damage like Photon does. Get some really nice crits at the end of that Special 2, and then she throws another SP1. Protection's down, but I can remove it pretty fast. Photon parries non-contact attacks, which is one of the reasons she's very good for this. And then we can just retaliate and kill her just like that. And then I had a pretty good amount of charges at the end of that fight for my next fight, so... Alright, I was at work today when I took my fights, and originally I was going to have to wait until later in the day for me to actually get my Wags pre-fight on my mini, but then an alliance mate of mine volunteered to put Wags on his team to get my pre-fight on early so that I could get this war out of my head as fast as possible, because I was freaking out nervous the entire day because of how hard I've been working towards this, and how much this means to me to actually be able to get a Deathless season if I can execute it right. So it was in my head, it was messing with me the whole day, but he volunteered to put Wags on his team and just use Kate for one of his fights that he was like originally just assigned Chavez for, or the other way around. And so now I can get all of my fights done earlier in the morning, so where I don't have to stress about it the rest of the day, because I was actually like freaking out most of this morning because of how much stress I was putting on myself for this. But either way, that just means that I'm running the maximum boost and I can get all of my fights done right here. Starting with this Mangog on Path 2, which is actually a lot harder than I expected it to be. This is not gonna go as well as I had hoped. Now he's in his rage and he's unstoppable. I can pause my charges quickly there by going for a well-timed counter, but I didn't counter it well there. So anyway, he's got the power gain going now. I need to push him red. I don't want to eat that SP2. It's actually just better if he drops an SP3, because it's not going to hit as hard as his SP2 will. And I believe my invul got eaten up just before he dropped it, but Inequity, Photon just being a tank, you know, it doesn't hurt me that bad, which is part of why I wanted him to throw the SP3 instead of the SP2. Anyway, Now I just need to try to find a way to kill him. This is not going again like I had hoped it would. I picked this fight for myself, and I expected it to go a lot better. Maybe I should have used iDoom for this fight. I'm not really sure, but we're gonna get the fight down. He's not gonna be alive that much longer. I'm about to enter Pure Light form again. We have a bunch of debuffs for Despair, and we just keep countering those special attacks of his. And I'm going to drop the SP3 here, which is going to finish the job with me at 25 charges to move on to my final fight of the war, which you're going to see why I was really hoping for that later. Anyway, Photon's SP3 in 60 frames per second looks so clean, man. It's just off topic, but that looked awesome. So I'm quickly running into this fight while I had like 6 seconds left on my invul boost. But this is Havok on node 29. This has EMP modification and Prey on the Weak. Both of the things iDoom basically ignores because he's immune to shock, and the tactic heal block is going to cover most of the ability power rate from Prey on the Weak. So there's a placebo node here, but that doesn't really do anything. Every time Havok throws a special attack and he's going to gain the prowess, we're going to remove a bunch of the prowess and place an energy vulnerability instead, which is really, really cool. So now I just need to make sure I have that heal block up at all times, and then just keep countering his special 2s. I should have the invul boost from those 6 seconds I had left, so if he goes red, it's not the end of the world, but I can't necessarily trust that the invul boost did stick, because it might have had like 1 second left and then not actually apply. Either way, I'm just going to be baiting SP2s most of the time, and also be very intentional with going for a bunch of double mediums to keep that tactic heal block up as much as possible. So this next SP2 is going to do a good bit of damage. Does it kill? I don't believe it does, but it gets him really close. Yeah, he's at 8%. My heal block still has decent duration on it, so now I'm just getting ready to go for a kill, and then he goes down right there. So those path fights definitely took me a bit of time compared to how much I can normally nuke some of the paths I do, but it's okay. We only have 3 fights left, and then we're done. So starting with Bishop on node 39. Done this fight multiple times before. This is the easy mini. This one I was not worried about at all. The other 2 are the ones that I'm actually very scared of. But this is going to go fine. I just need to time Power Snack when it's not going to kill my armor up. And then that's pretty much the gist of the fight. Because now that I have the armor up, I have my immunities online. I have the tactic heal block to cover the Power Snack ability power rate, and then I can just take the Bishop's SP2s on block if I want to, and then they just kind of tickle because of how tanky iDoom is, especially if yours is awakened. I'm going to eat some of the Power Sting damage, and then he's just going to die here, I think. No, he's not, but he's at like 22%. So almost dead. We're doing just really, really big attacks here with those energy vulnerabilities, and then this combo is going to finish the job with a nice heavy attack at the end. So final 2 fights of the war, 2 that I was nervous about going into it. I had an initial strategy for this Weapon X that did not end up working when I tested it, which is where I could shut off his unblockable, but apparently his unblockable is not subject to ability accuracy, so that wasn't going to work. So now I just have to deal with this Weapon X's unblockable, which is fine. I should be able to do it. It's just, with how much attack he has, it did make me nervous. Because normally I like doing this with Arcade, who I think is safer for this fight than I do. But it's okay. Just keep that tactic heal block going, and his Berserk is already gone. So the fight is basically won now, and I didn't really have much to be nervous about. But yeah, obviously, with so much stress on the line for this war, I was really nervous going into this fight, but clearly it was not justified, as he's not even getting any Berserk charges yet, and he's just melting. So Weapon X goes down right after this SP2, and then we're down to the final fight of my season, and it's, of course, guess what defender it's going to be? It's going to be against Enchantress. The 10th Enchantress I've faced this season, the 20th I've faced this tactic, this time on a brand new node, and I've never used Photon for Enchantress before. I was freaking out about this fight because I wasn't sure if it would work like I had hoped it would. This is the final fight standing between me and my first ever Deathless season, and of course it has to be against Enchantress. I'm just hoping this goes as well as I expect it to, or thought about it would in my head. And yeah, so we start off with some really good damage. She gave me easy spells to remove at the beginning. I did not want her to throw that special attack because I want to push her to a special 3 and tank it, so that's a little annoying. And now I lose 2 hits on my invul there, so I'm already freaking out. She's about to trigger the power gain. I'm just dropping this. I do remove the spells, however, now she's just going to be spamming a bunch of specials. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I just need to play calm, don't freak out. Freaking out against Enchantress, this tactic is how you die to her. I'm just going to play it cool. I'm going to be okay. So there, I'm baiting a heavy attack, going to go for the counter there, and immediately 3 spells are removed. So I'm like, okay, we're fine. She only has 5 power charges from the tactic. I need to get my pure light back as soon as I can, and then we're going to be safe again. But I dropped this SP2 without pure light, and we do have 1 hit miss. The rest didn't, but now I need to make sure that I don't trigger the prowess, because I only have 1 hit on my invul left, and this SP3 is obviously going to hit pretty hard if she has prowess. Here she doesn't, and it also was my last hit of my invul. So I'm like, okay, I have a lot of power. Power backs are kicking in. I think we just did it. And just like that, with that combo, we're done. Deathless season acquired. And I am absolutely over the moon. I've been playing Tier 1 War for 9 seasons, always with intentions of reaching what I have today, getting that first ever Deathless season. I don't care if this doesn't mean anything to you, it means a lot to me. And I just want to take a moment to look back at everything that I've done this season. My first season as a war planner too, planning myself to success, planning my battle group to success, and it finally paid off at the very end with me reaching my goal finally. All those Enchantresses I had to take, all these random champs I ranked up for this tactic, rank 3ing Photon, ranking up iDoom, ranking up Arcade, Spider-Punk. It was all worth it. And you can see my stats here. My personal Alliance War Deathless count. Season 46 was way too many for me to even count. And then it got better in 47, it got worse in 48. And then it got better, and it got better, and then it got worse, and then it got better, and then it finally ended with a 0. And that is my goal achieved. All I can say is thank the Lord that I finally was able to do it. So, the war is still happening as of the time of recording this. It doesn't matter if we win or lose, we're stuck in Plat 1, so we do want to try to win this, but I don't think it's going to happen. CAV is a very, very good alliance, and we're just not at their level yet. But I'll put the score in the comment section once I publish this video. But I did it. That's all I can say.